What's up y'all? Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hello and welcome. Today's video is going to be a huge makeup haul. I have about 2 weeks worth of makeup sitting here in front of me that I have accumulated and done absolutely nothing with. So if you've been paying attention to my community section and you watched yesterday's Throwback Thursday video, then you know exactly where I have been for the past week and a half. But if you've missed it all and you're curious as to where I have been, I was selected to serve as a jury member on a criminal trial. So I have been very tied up, I have been very busy, but I am happy to say everything is done, over, closed, and life can resume as normal. But with all that being said, as you can imagine, I am very far behind on content, which is why I have so much untouched makeup sitting here in front of me. So I thought it would be fun to sit down, show you everything I have, kind of go over things, do some swatches, open things up, and kind of check them out a little bit, give you a sneak peek, and then y'all can let me know down below in that comment section what you're interested in seeing as content on my channel. Keep in mind, I cannot do a designated video for everything sitting here in front of me. If I were to do that, I would never catch up. I would always be behind, and there's a ton of new stuff that I'm sure has come out. I have no idea because I'm very out of the loop, but I want to catch up and I want to move on to some of the new releases. So let me know what you're interested in seeing a designated video with, what you're okay seeing included in a multiple palettes, multiple looks, get ready with me's, or maybe you just could care less and we can skip over it altogether. Also, if there is something that has released as of late and you want to see me use it, create looks with it, give you my thoughts on it, leave that down there as well, because like I said, I am very out of the loop. I only know about 3 collections that have come out as of late. I know that Unearthly has a new one, Cosmic Beauty has a new one that's coming out, and Melt did a round 2 with Bailey Sarian. Other than that, I really couldn't tell you about anything, but we're gonna go ahead and jump into this. I will link as much of this stuff down below in the description box as I possibly can, as well as everything I am wearing on my face. I did film this look. This is yesterday's Throwback Thursday video, and I also have a good story time in that one as well about my experience as a jury member, so that will be linked down there as well in case you missed it and you want to hear all about it. But let's go ahead and jump into this. Alright, so I'm just going to kind of dive into this. There's no particular order. I'm just going to kind of grab from the things sitting in front of me, but I think I'm going to go ahead and start with things that aren't a collection. They're just kind of standalone items that we can definitely put in get ready with me's and things like that. So the first thing that I have is the newest foundation from Dolce & Gabbana. This is the Everlast foundation, and this is one that I went back and forth as to whether or not I wanted to pick it up because it is a matte foundation. It's a full coverage foundation, and it also has SPF in it. Now, for the most part, my skin does not cooperate very well with a chemical sunscreen, but sometimes I can get away with it, and sometimes a matte foundation does work for my skin depending on how matte it is. 2 of my favorite foundations in my collection are classified as matte foundations, so I figured I would give it a try. If I don't like it, I can return it. Now, I did pick up the shade 2C Light, which is supposed to be a light with a cool undertone. I am very fair with a cool undertone, so I usually go for the lightest shade that they have with a cool undertone or a neutral undertone. I can pull those off as well. I will say this looks pretty light in the bottle, but let's go ahead and do a pump on my hand and see what it's gonna look like. Okay, this is very, very thick. You can see it right there on the back of my hand. It does feel nice and creamy, very thick, very full coverage, but it also feels like it's going to be a little hydrating as well, which I do really enjoy a more hydrating foundation. I am 39 years old and I do have normal dry leaning skin. The older I get, the drier it gets, so we'll see how this is going to behave, but let me know if you want to see this in a get ready with me, if you want to see a foundation wear test with this one. It doesn't have a fragrance to it, so that's really nice, and that's actually pretty uncommon for a luxury foundation. And I also have to say that I thought this one was pretty reasonably priced as well for a luxury house foundation. I think it was around $60, so yes, it's more on the pricey side, but at the same time, it's really not too bad. But I think that's going to be an okay shade match, but we'll see how it sits on my skin, how it wears, if it's going to oxidize, if it's going to break up, or if it's going to dry me out. All right, so while I was scrolling through the Nordstrom website and looking for the Dolce & Gabbana foundation, I came across another foundation that I didn't even realize existed. I knew that the fashion house did have a makeup line, but I didn't realize that they had foundation and concealer, and that is going to be these two from Burberry. So this is the Burberry Beyond Wear Perfecting Matte Foundation and the Beyond Wear Perfecting Concealer. So I went ahead and picked up both of them because I was really curious. I've never tried anything from the Burberry Cosmetics line, but in the foundation I picked up the shade 10 Fair Cool. So let's open this up and see what she looks like. Very beautiful, very heavy, nice glass bottle, and let's see what the shade is going to look like. So this one is definitely more of a thinner consistency. You can see it starting to run down my hand, and I'm assuming that this is going to be more of a medium buildable coverage. We'll see whenever we actually get to try it on the skin. I don't remember off the top of my head, but it does feel nice and thin, nice and hydrating. It does have a fragrance to it. It has that typical luxury fragrance to it, but I can't smell it as I'm sitting here. I can only smell it like when I put it up to my nose. So I'm assuming that the smell will go away, but if you're somebody who doesn't like fragrance in their makeup, this is probably not going to be for you. But I do think that's going to be a really good shade match. Even if it oxidizes just a smidge, I think it will be okay, but we'll see what it does. But I also picked up the concealer as well, and the concealer I got in the shade 20 Fair Neutral. They didn't have one with a cool undertone to it, so I don't always prefer a neutral concealer, but we'll go ahead and try it out. And like I said, if these shades don't match or I don't like them, I will return them because they are a little bit more on the pricier side. But this is what the concealer looks like. So it has a nice doe foot applicator, and that is a lot darker than the foundation itself. So I can definitely use some under eye powders to lighten it up. I can mix it with a lighter concealer if I need to. This was the lightest one that they had, so that kind of throws me off a little bit because it's so much deeper than the foundation, but we'll give it a try, see what it does. It does feel like it has a nice serum-like consistency to it as well. It feels like it's going to be hydrating, and we'll see what this does on my skin as well. All right, so I do have one more foundation that I picked up. I know that's a bit excessive, but this one has been on my wish list for a very long time. I've actually had several of y'all recommend it to me, and it is the one that I am wearing on my face today, and that is the Chanel Le Beige Healthy Glow Foundation. And let me just say, this is absolutely beautiful. I have actually been wearing this consistently for the past week and a half. I've gone back and forth between this one and the Dior Stick Foundation, and both of them wear beautifully. This one does wear a little bit longer on my skin. There was one day that I had this foundation on for 17 hours, and at the end of the day, my complexion still looked flawless. So I am really, really impressed with this one, and in my opinion, it is definitely worth the price point of it, and I would 100% repurchase this. But while we are on the whole Chanel thing, let me show you what else I picked up from Chanel, because I have really been wanting to try more from the brand. I've heard there's some really hit or miss products, so I picked up a couple of things I've kind of heard more good things on. And the other one is the Balm Essential. So this is in the shade Scintillement, I think is how you pronounce it, and this is the highlighter that I am wearing today. So it is a stick balmy foundation, and it is very balmy. It definitely has more of like that glass-like finish to it, so it's not going to have a flip or like a whole lot of color to it, but it's one of those where it just looks like you have a natural glow to the skin. It does have a little bit of a tackiness to it when you first apply it, but if you apply it with your fingers and let it sit, it doesn't stay sticky, your hair doesn't stick to it. I don't have oily skin, so I can't really attest to that. If you do have super oily skin, this is probably one that you want to stay away from, but it doesn't lift my makeup. It looks absolutely beautiful on the skin, and I actually really like this. I think it's a beautiful product. But I do have two other things that I picked up from Chanel as well, and these two I have not tried yet. So the first one that I have is their new cream to powder blush. So this is a newer release from the brand. I think it came out maybe a month ago at this point, but I picked up the shade Rose Radiant. I had a really hard time deciding what shade I wanted to pick up, but this is the one that I picked up. So it comes in the cute little pouch, and it comes in the standard Chanel packaging, which is not the most luxurious, I have to admit, but let's go ahead and open her up. So this is what the blush looks like. That is a beautiful color. It's a little bit deeper and warmer for the fall and winter months, but let's do a little bit of a swatch. So this definitely feels like a velvety creamy powder, and that is a beautiful swatch. Okay. This could be really nice. I've heard really good things about this formulation. I do have one of their blushes from their regular line, and if you've watched my declutters and collection videos, you know that I'm not a fan of it. It is very lightly pigmented. It takes a lot to really build up, and it's just not the prettiest, but that has a really pretty kind of glow to it. It felt nice and velvety when I picked it up, so very promising. I'm excited to check that one out. But the last thing that I picked up from Chanel is from I guess their winter collection or their holiday collection. I'm not very familiar with the brand as a whole. I'm kind of slowly making my way into more luxury because it's expensive, but this is the eyeshadow and blush palette. So this is one of their oversized palettes, and this looks absolutely beautiful. So this is what the compact looks like. It's bigger than their normal compact, so you can see that, and when you open it up, it has the most beautiful shades in it. So let's take off the little plastic piece. Now this one did not come in a little pouch, which is fine with me. I don't normally keep my stuff in a pouch, but this is what the palette looks like, and I love the shade selection in here. I could see me wearing this one or this one as a blush. This could be a beautiful highlight or an inner corner. This would look beautiful on the eye. I'm excited to play with this and create an eye look and actually kind of create a whole look around this one. So let me know all of your thoughts if you've tried any of this stuff, if you're curious about any of it, or if I just need to play with it in my own time. All right, so the next thing that I have is another one that has been a long time wish list product, and I caved. I don't know if I blacked out or what I did, but I actually purchased this, and this is the bronzer from Hermes. Now, this is a very pricey bronzer. I realize that, so if I do not like it at all, if I have any doubts, I will 100% return this, but I've been so curious about this. I've heard amazing things about it. I absolutely love bronzers. It's just a thing that I love, so we are going to try this one out. This is in the shade 01 Tatori. It's the lightest one they have, but it comes in the beautiful orange Hermes box. And when you open this up, this is what the compact looks like. Very sleek, very luxe looking. I will say it does feel pretty weighty, but it doesn't feel as weighty as what you would imagine for the price tag and the fact that it's Hermes, but I do still think this is absolutely beautiful. Like, you can see the little H emblem right there. It's white and gold. I absolutely love that. But opening her up, this is what the bronzer looks like. So it's got kind of like a tri-color effect to it. It's got the H in the middle. It looks absolutely beautiful. I'm really excited about this one. So maybe we'll do like a whole luxury get ready with me trying new makeup type video and just kind of see what's good, what's not, what's worth it, and what you can skip out on. All right, so up next I have a couple of things I picked up kind of last minute during the Sephora sale. A couple of things caught my eye and I decided to do one more small order. So the first thing I have is from Merit, and this is the Great Skin Priming Moisturizer. So I had planned on picking up another one of the Bobbi Brown moisturizing primers. I can't think of the name right off the top of my head, but I absolutely love that in the winter time. And I came across this one. It's about half the price, if not less, and it kind of sounds like it's going to do the same thing. So I figured we would go ahead and try it out, kind of see what it's going to do. I don't have the Bobbi Brown one in my collection anymore. I decluttered it, I believe, in my last collection declutter because it was very old. There was very little left. The lid was broken, so it was kind of drying out, but I'm excited to check this one out. So let's do a swatch on the back of the hand, see what the consistency feels like. I love that this comes in a pump. That is one of my biggest complaints from the Bobbi Brown, but just based off of the consistency, it definitely feels a little bit thinner than the one from Bobbi Brown. That one feels a little bit more like thick and rich, but it definitely sinks into the skin. But this one feels really nice as well. So I'm hopeful this is going to be a good alternative. It doesn't really have a fragrance to it. It just smells like clean ingredients. It doesn't smell chemically. It doesn't smell bad. It doesn't smell fragrance. It just smells like clean ingredients, but it sinks into the skin really nicely. It feels very velvety, very smooth. So I'm excited to try that one out as well. But I also picked up the newest brow gel from Anastasia Beverly Hills. So this is the volumizing tinted brow gel. Originally, I was going to repurchase the Milk Makeup Kush brow gel that I love so much. I really enjoy that formula. The one I have, I think, is just a little bit too dark for me, but instead of that, I decided to try this one instead. This is in the shade Soft Brown, and I will say I have worn this one time because I was really curious, and this is beautiful. I think I might like this one better. It wore really well. I didn't have it on for a really long time. It was more of a shorter day, but I like the applicator on this one better, and let me show you what I'm talking about. So this is what the applicator looks like. So it's not the same all the way around. It's a little bit easier to kind of brush through the brow hairs. It doesn't seem to stick as much. It doesn't pull out as much product. So it's a little bit easier to work with, and I really like the shade of this one. This is the shade Soft Brown. I don't know if I said that already, but beautiful shade match for my brows. And the last two things I picked up in the Sephora sale are the Valentino Spike Valentino Matte Couture and a lipstick. So I picked up one of their new little lipsticks. I couldn't resist. I thought it was absolutely beautiful. Let's see if I can get this open. And I picked up the shade 134R. It's some sort of like rosy mauvey cool tone shade, very up my alley. But look at how beautiful this component is. I've said several times I don't need any more lip products in my collection, but I couldn't resist. I decided to treat myself, and one more product isn't gonna do any harm, but it's one of those slim lipsticks, which I absolutely love. I find them to be easier to apply, and I'm not a huge fan of matte lipsticks. I'm not a huge fan of matte anything, but if it's a good matte lipstick, it can be a little bit more moisturizing because I do like the finish of a matte. I just don't like how drying they normally are. So let's go ahead and do a swatch right here of that shade. Oh my gosh, it is so incredibly beautiful. It's almost like a rosewood shade. Very beautiful. It went on very smooth. It didn't drag. It didn't tug. It felt nice and creamy. So I'm excited to try that out and see what it's gonna do on my very dry lips. And to go with it, I got one of the Dior lip liners. So this is the Rouge Dior Contour Lip Liner Pencil, and I got the shade Nude Blush 329. So I was hoping it would go really nicely with the Valentino lipstick. I was looking for a liner to kind of match it. So let's open her up. Okay, so it comes with a pencil sharpener, which we love. And then this is what the pencil itself looks like. So there's a little lip brush on one end, which I don't typically use, but then the other end has our lip liner, and it's a sharpenable one. I love a good sharpenable lip liner. So let's do a swatch right here. Oh, that's gonna be a really good match. This one is a little bit pinkier, and this one's a little bit more warm toned, but I think it'll be okay. But we're gonna check that out as well. So all of this I kind of plan on rolling into a get ready with me, but let me know if there's any of the foundations that you want to see like a more dedicated video with. All right, let's go ahead and run through the last few kind of like luxury mainstream things that I have, and then we'll get into the indie makeup, and then I have a few things from C-Beauty. So the first thing that I picked up is a Lisa Eldridge eyeshadow palette. This is not new. I don't even think this is one of the newer shades. I picked up the shade Muse. No, this is not one of the newer shades that she came out with, but I've been so curious about this formulation. I do love a good luxury eyeshadow. I think there's a time and place for it, but not all luxury eyeshadow formulas are created equal. So I was really curious about this one right here. So like I said, I picked up the shade Muse, and this is what the compact looks like. This is very heavy, very weighty. It definitely matches the price tag that it has. And this is the color story that I got. So it's definitely more of like those rosy warm tones. This is a very me color story. I do recognize that, but more than anything, I was curious about the formula. I've been really curious about the brand in general, but it is a little bit pricey, so I decided to start with one of her eyeshadow palettes and then maybe move forward from there. So if you have any recommendations of products that you love from Lisa Eldridge, leave those down below as well. So maybe we can throw this one into the get ready with me, or maybe there's something else you want to see. Like I said, let me know all of your thoughts down below, but I just thought this was an absolutely beautiful eyeshadow palette, and like I said, I've been really interested in the brand as a whole. Alright y'all, so I caved and I picked up parts of the Pat McGrath holiday collection. So I picked up her bigger palette and then I picked up the two smaller 5-pan palettes. I didn't pick up the duos or anything else. This is what I went for. So this is the Luminous Legends Mega Eyeshadow Palette, and I thought the color story in here was absolutely beautiful. It's very colorful and I like the shades that are in here. Keep in mind, I don't have a huge Pat McGrath collection, so as far as color overlap and repeats and things like that go, I'm not really worried about it. But if you do have a large Pat McGrath collection, I believe these are shades that she has had before. I could be wrong on that one, but if we decide to get into this one, I can let you know more details. But I know at this point this is not a new release, so if you don't want to see anything on it, I'm perfectly okay with it. I really picked this up more for me than anything. But this is the bigger palette that she came out with. These are made in Italy, and her Italian formula is where it's at from what I understand. But I also picked up the two little smaller 5-pan palettes as well. So the first one that we have is Dawn Divinity, and this one is very neutral, which I love a good neutral palette, especially if I'm in a hurry. I have done a lot of neutral looks the past week and a half because since I was going to court, I wanted to look good, but at the same time, I didn't want to have any wild, crazy, colorful eye looks. Not that I couldn't wear that to court, I just didn't feel comfortable doing it. But this one is beautiful, and I kind of wish that I had this one whenever I went to court, but this came in like 2 days ago. So I have that one, and then I also have Starfall Seduction, and I thought this one was just absolutely beautiful. Look at that purple, that pink, that beautiful shimmer right there, and this one over here has like this really pretty like blackened green look to it. Oh my gosh, look at that. It is absolutely stunning. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait to play with that. That did not swatch out very well, did it? But that's okay. Just because it doesn't swatch well doesn't mean that the formula is not good. But like I said, I did pick these up as well, more so for me than anything else. But if you want to see a video on it, I am more than happy to do it. But I also will not get my feelings hurt if you're like, we're good, we're over it, that's old news. But the last thing that I picked up before we jump into Indie and C-Beauty is the newest release from Viseart. So Viseart launched a new palette. This is the Serenus Étendue. I'm sure I butchered that, but I love the Viseart formula. It is stunning, especially if you have more mature lids or if you just want a really soft look with a little bit more of an impact to it. They have beautiful color stories, beautiful formula. I absolutely love it. But this is what the palette looks like, and they kind of changed the format. I don't know if it's just for this palette in particular or if it's something new that they're going to be doing, but normally a Viseart palette opens like an envelope, so like the top will open and the bottom will open, but this one is just a flip. And this is what our color story looks like. How beautiful is that? And y'all, it's very cool tone, and I love the cool tone color story. So, you know, I've been coming around to my cool tones, but I'm excited about this one. So let me know as well if you want to see this one in a get ready with me, or the Lisa Eldridge, or skip out on it. I'm going to keep repeating myself over and over throughout this video, but just keep in mind, y'all let me know what you want to see. But that is what this palette looks like. Absolutely stunning. All right, y'all, so let's go ahead and chat about some C-Beauty, and then we'll move into our Indie Beauty and close out this video. So I do have a couple of things on the way that have just not made it here yet. I have the newest release from QianYan, or Cheer Up as it's also called. I have one of the new Girl Cult palettes, and then I also have the newest Shall We collection on the way to me as well. So those are not here yet, but let me know what you want to see. If you want to see everything in one video, you want to see designated videos, you know the drill. But the things that I have sitting here in front of me are some eyeshadow palettes and some other fun C-Beauty products that I want to play with. So the first thing that I have is this beautiful palette right here. This is from the brand Haggard. This is one that I have not played with yet, but I've heard really nice things about it, and the color story in here is very neutral, but I like the mix of the cool tones with this gold in here and this really pretty champagne shade. You've got your browns, your black. I just thought this would be a really pretty travel palette, and I'm curious about the formula in this one as well. So we have that palette right there, and then I also have 4 other palettes from Narimi. Now these I've been holding on to for a little while, and I was actually planning on filming a 4 palettes 4 looks video, and then of course life got away from me, so I never did. But let me know if you still want to see that video. These are not brand new palettes from the brand. They are not new releases. They are ones that have been out for a little while. But the first one that I have is going to be the Jackdaw palette, and this one, oh my gosh, y'all. How gorgeous is that color story with that blue over here, which did come broken. I had to repress it back in there, so mine looks a little bit messy, but we're gonna kind of ignore that. But then we have these beautiful greens, this yellow, of course, an absolutely stunning multi-chrome. The other one that I have is the Exotic Sheep palette, and this color story, y'all, look at how beautiful that color story is. I love this sort of like bright coral shade over here. We've got purple, green, pink, we've got a black and some beautiful shimmer shades as well. The next one that I have, these next 2 are a little bit more on the neutral side, but we have the Deadwood palette. Purple Deadwood is what it's called, and that is what this one looks like. So you definitely have some more neutral grungy mattes in this one, but again, you have some beautiful shimmers in here. I really love the Narimi formula. It is very soft, so you're going to get a lot of kick up and a lot of fallout, but they are very pigmented and they do clean up pretty well. But just keep in mind that you probably want to do your base makeup after you do your eyes if you play with these. Not something I'm used to, but something I'm trying to get a little bit more of a handle on. But the last one that I have is going to be Light Brown Amber, and this is probably the most neutral of the 4, but it's definitely more like that pinky warm tone. I love this pop of blue right here, and this one is more matte heavy, so there's only 2 shimmers in this one, and then the rest are going to be matte shades, but still very beautiful and one that I'm excited about. And the last couple of C-Beauty items that I have are kind of like odds and ends that I either picked up or got as like a gift with purchase. So the first one was a gift with purchase, and it's a liquid eyeliner, and this is from the brand Cheer Up. Yes, I believe, right? QianYan Cheer Up. So it's just a black liquid liner. But then I also picked up the ever viral Judy Doll mascara. So I'm sure you have seen it floating around if you pay attention to the beauty sphere, but it's this really interesting mascara. I don't really want to open it, but it has like a metal wand. I'm gonna open it anyways just because you won't understand until I do. Which way does it go? It goes this way, but this is what the wand looks like. So it's just like a metal wand, but it is supposed to be the most curling and lengthening mascara. I have seen several people do it and it looks incredible. So I was curious, curiosity got the best of me. So I went ahead and picked that up. And then the last thing that I picked up is a blush from Girl Cult. I know, the last thing I need is another blush, but I've really been wanting to try more formulas. I have tried very few complexion formulas from C-Beauty. It's been mostly eyeshadows, so I wanted to try some more, and this is actually a cream blush. So this isn't from a new collection. This is from a little bit of an older collection, but it is a cream blush. So this is what the component looks like. I can't remember what the shade is. I'll leave it down below if I can find it. But look at how beautiful that is. Look at that embossing. It's got their signature sun in there and it looks absolutely stunning. So let's do a swatch. We're gonna ruin this right here. Feels very creamy. And this is our shade right here. Ooh, that's got some good pigmentation to it. I will say this feels a little bit more on like the stiff like clay side, but I'm very intrigued to see how the formula is gonna perform, if it's gonna lift my makeup, if it's gonna work over powder, or if it's just not gonna work for me at all. But I do think that color is absolutely beautiful. All right, so that brings us to indie makeup. Now, there is quite a bit sitting here in front of me, but I'm not gonna lie, most of it is Halloween launches that have finally made their way to me. So if y'all wanna see designated videos with some of these collections, I'm more than happy to do that. But I'm kind of thinking of doing maybe one last Halloween hurrah video, kind of rolling everything into one and then kind of moving forward from there. So the first collection that we have is the newest one from Wicked Widow Beauty. This is the Tales of Terror, a Haunting collection. Now, I did not pick up everything from collection. There were some lipsticks that came out with it, but they just weren't shades that I was interested in. But I did get the eyeshadow palette, and then I got the cream blush and the highlighter as well. So this is what the eyeshadow palette looks like, and y'all, this color story is absolutely stunning. I love how it's chaotic, it's colorful. This orange right here is absolutely stunning. We've got purple, green, we've got some neutrals in here. I think this is a gorgeous color story, and I'm really excited about this one. But like I said, I also picked up the cream blush and the highlighter as well. So this is what the cream blush looks like, and it's this really pretty purple shade, which we know that I am a sucker for a purple blush. So let's just do a little swatch of this one right here. This does feel very creamy and very balmy. I'm hoping it's not too pigmented and too orange, or too purple, but it definitely looks like it's going to be, doesn't it? But we'll see how it goes on the cheek. Maybe a little bit goes a long way. Maybe it blends out really nicely. So we'll see what that formula is like. I've never tried a blush from Wicked Widow Beauty before, and I think this is the first time that they have ever done a cream blush. But like I said, I also picked up the highlighter as well, and I just thought this was such a unique highlighter. It is a pumpkin orange highlighter, and it's something that I don't have in my collection, so obviously I need it. But I thought worst case scenario, this could be an absolutely beautiful like eyeshadow inner corner or whatever. This is very, very chunky, which I'm not a huge fan of, so I don't know if I'm gonna like this as a highlighter, but that is absolutely beautiful. It does smooth out really nicely, but you don't typically apply a highlighter with your finger. You normally pick it up with a fluffy brush and put it on. So I don't know how that's gonna do. I will say it does seem to have a pretty transparent base, so I don't think that's going to be an issue. The issue is going to be, is it going to be chunky, glittery, have a lot of fallout, or is it gonna go on really, really smooth? But I'm still excited about this collection. I think it's absolutely beautiful, and I really enjoy the Wicked Widow formula. From Divaroon Cosmetics, we have the Witch of the Wildflower palette. Now, this was actually one of two palettes that was created in collaboration with Basket Case Beauty over on Instagram. Her and the owner of Divaroon Cosmetics, which is Monica Jones, known as mjones5018 over on Instagram, who is the owner of Divaroon, curated their own palettes and then released them together as part of the Friend Oween collection. And while the other one is absolutely beautiful, it's a little bit more neutral, and I'm trying to be more selective with my purchases moving forward, just because I can't try everything. I don't need everything. I cannot afford everything, but I liked this color story. I thought it was beautiful. It really resonated with me. So this is the one that I picked up, but it's a 9pan palette, and if you look at the color story, you know exactly why I was drawn to it. It's very heavy on the purple. It has this gorgeous chartreuse shade up here that I cannot wait to put in my inner corner. I love this sort of like sunflower yellow orange shade up here. We've got a green, and we've got three beautiful shimmers down the middle. I think this is a beautiful color story, and like I said, I do really enjoy the Divaroon formula, so I'm excited about this one, but whether or not I include it in a video, y'all let me know if you want to see it. All right, so the last two spooky season palettes that I have come to us from Glamlight. So the first one is going to be the Ghostface Returns palette. Now this is a reimagined version of the original Ghostface palette, because that one is very neutral, very cool tone, and a lot of people were disappointed that we didn't have pops of red in it. Me being one of those people, while I do have it, it is a little bit disappointing. So they went ahead and reimagined it, and this is our new color story, and I think this is absolutely beautiful. I love the combination combination of cool tones and warm tones. We have some more neutral browns in here. We still have more of the blacks and the grays, and of course we have our reds in here as well. I had originally planned on doing like a side-by-side comparison video with this palette. I can still sneak that in, maybe do some swatches and things like that, post it over my community section. In case you have the original one and you're wondering how much overlap there is, obviously they're not the same two palettes, but you can find reds and browns in some of their other palettes, so it's always nice to have a comparison. But I do think this is beautiful, and I think this is the version that they originally should have come out with. But I also picked up the Trick or Treat palette as well. So this one released before the Ghostface Returns palette came out, and I wanted this one, but I told y'all I was gonna wait and pick it up when something else came out. So I snagged this one when I got the Ghostface one, and this color story is even more beautiful in person. There's something about the pictures that Glamlight does, it just doesn't do their color stories justice. They're always more beautiful in person than they are in their pictures. Their pictures are very dark, and I understand, but at the same time I don't understand. But anyways, let's get back to this one. So I have never seen Trick or Treat before, so I don't know if the color story matches the movie. I don't know the references, but it is on my list of things to watch. But this is like the perfect autumnal color story for me. I love the orange and yellow tones in here. You've got a black to kind of deepen everything up. This yellow shimmer shade right here is so beautiful. I really like the way they did this one. I like that we have a really light shimmer in here. We've got some good depth in here. I think they curated this one really well. And from my experience, this format from Glamlight tends to be some of their better formulas. So I'm hoping that holds true to that. But that is everything that I have as far as spooky season release goes. Actually, no, I do have one more thing, but it's a bigger thing. It's more of a mystery thing. I'm gonna save that for the end, and that's probably going to be tomorrow's video. But let's go ahead and move on to some other collections that I have. All right, so moving forward from Unearthly Cosmetics, we have the Not Normal Remastered palette. So this is a palette that the brand had many years ago. I do have that palette, but that one is a smaller color story. That is a 9-pan color story. So they basically took that one, expanded it, improved the formula, and brought us this one. So I do want to do a side-by-side comparison of the two palettes so you can see which colors are the same, which ones are different, if the colors that they pulled from that palette and put in this one are the exact same, or if they tweaked them just a little bit. But this is a beautiful color story. I do really love the Unearthly Cosmetics formula, but I do have to kind of go on a rant just a little bit and say that I am getting to the point where I'm a little bit tired of remastered palettes, re-envisioned palettes. I want to get back to the originality. I know they have a new collection that just launched that is original, but I do not like the cover art on that one. I saw it and I was really disappointed in it, and I have to say that I'm really getting kind of tired of the high price tags that are coming with some of these. Indie makeup for me started out as impeccable quality at a more affordable price point, and it has just kind of crept up and crept up and crept up, and it's no longer as affordable as it used to be. In fact, we're seeing mainstream brands that are more affordable than indie. So just something I kind of wanted to throw out there, a little rant, but I'm gonna get off my soapbox and we're gonna move back to this palette because I do think the color story in here is absolutely beautiful, and I do still enjoy Unearthly. I just don't know if I'm going to be able to keep up with every single release that they come out with, but I definitely want to include this one in a video in some way, some shape, some form. So let me know all of your thoughts down below. Are you over it, or do you want to see the comparisons? All right, y'all, so we're almost done. We have 4 more things to get through, and then we can close out this video. So the next one that I have comes to us from Sugar Drizzle. This is the Snowdrop Fairy palette. We are getting into the winter, holiday, Christmas releases, and this one is so cute. This is a 9-pan all shimmer palette. I think the color story in here is beautiful, but this is definitely going to be more of a companion palette for me, and I knew that getting into this. I just really enjoy the Sugar Drizzle formula when it comes to their multi-chromes and duochromes. They are still more on the affordable side, and the quality is incredible. But I'm thinking with this one, I can probably do like a short swatching everything out, maybe creating a look or two or something like that, but only if it's still available, because I do do think it was a limited release, and if it's not available anymore, I think I might kind of skip out and not create content with it just for the sake of trying to catch up. But let me know what your thoughts on that one down below. And then the last sort of holiday release that I have, because I haven't picked up anything else that has released recently, is the Nomad Cosmetics Polar Express palette. Y'all, this is so cute. I do think that the color story definitely overlaps with a couple of their other palettes, but I love the Polar Express. I couldn't resist. My oldest son was obsessed with this movie when he was little. I remember hearing it all the time. There was probably a moment where he watched this movie for a solid year straight. So I had to pick it up. I love the brand. I love the cause. I love everything they do. But I will say the color story in this one definitely has some overlap from some other color stories that we have seen as of late, but I do like this more like white and silver side over here. I love the blues in here, this pop of gold, the reds, the neutrals. This is a very pretty color story, but I would really like to compare it to some of the other palettes that they have. All right, so the last two things that we have to go through are going to be sort of mystery items or mystery collections. The first one is going to be my November Ice Cream Beauty box. I get this every single month. I unbox it with y'all. I try everything on and give y'all my first initial impression thoughts. And this month features DD Signature. So there's two of her palettes. You can choose either one that you want, or as always, you can add on the second one for $10. And this one does have some other products in it as well. I don't understand why it didn't come in a box. Maybe because the items were a little bit bigger, but it does come in this bag, but it is the Ice Cream Beauty box. So I'm just gonna kind of give y'all a sneak peek of what's in here. If you don't want to see what's in here, then I would suggest to go ahead and fast forward maybe a couple of minutes, but I just want to show you. So if you want to see me trying these products, we can do that. If you're not interested, we can skip it as well. So in here, the first thing that we're going to have is a tinted lip balm. This is from the brand Love Bird. And then we also have a mascara from the brand Lash Step. This is their Snatched mascara that looks absolutely beautiful. We have a liquid eyeshadow from the brand Beau Babe Beauty. We have seen this brand before. I believe it was a bronzer that we got from them, and it is a really good formula. So I'm not the biggest fan of liquid eyeshadows, but I am excited to try this one, and I think the component is beautiful. It's definitely giving Christian Louboutin vibes. We also got a makeup brush in here. This is actually a foundation brush, and I love makeup brushes. I'm always open to trying new ones and welcoming new ones into my collection, because that just means that's one less time that I have to wash a makeup brush. So we have that as well. And then of course we have the two eyeshadow palettes. So I did pay the extra $10 to add on the second one, and I did have a little bit of a mishap with mine in the mail. It's not a huge deal. I was able to kind of save them, so all is not lost. But the first one that we have is the Classic Autumn palette. I do believe this is an older palette from the brand, but it is reformulated. And this is the one that came with the broken mirror. So it did have a plastic piece on top. So I went ahead and taped the mirror and then took that off, and there's not any shards of glass in here, but that is what this color story looks like. And the other one that we have is the Jingle Bell Ruby palette. And this one came out last year. I think this was kind of the return of DD Signature. And I don't know if this one has been reformulated or not, but this one is absolutely beautiful. And this one actually came with a broken shadow. So it was this one right here came broken. I was able to repress it, but this is a beautiful color story. It is definitely very Christmassy, especially if you just look at this half of the palette. So that is what came in this month's Ice Cream Beauty box. So let me know if y'all still want to see like a formal unboxing and try on with this one. Otherwise, I'll just kind of play with it myself and move forward, because you know we're not going to be able to get to everything, and I completely recognize that, but I do still have one more thing. So let me kind of clean this up a little bit, make some room, and show you what the last thing that I have is, because this is the one that I am most excited about. And last but not least, we have one more spooky release, and that is going to be the Sinister mystery box from Cosmic Brushes. I have not opened this. I have no idea what is in here other than an eyeshadow palette. They made that very clear when this came out, but I'm excited to dive into this. I know several creators have already gotten theirs and started to get videos up with theirs, so per usual, I am very behind, but I'm still really excited about this one. And I think this is going to go up in tomorrow's video. But let me know all of your thoughts down below. Let me know what you want to see, what you can skip out on, how you want to see it. Let's have that conversation. Light up that comment section. And as always, I want to thank you all so much for watching my video and spending your time with me. It truly does mean so much to me. And if you like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up before you leave. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click on that notification bell so that you can be notified of all my future posts here on my channel. I do post quite a few videos every single week and I wouldn't want you to miss one. But until my next video, have a good one. Bye.